Well, this is the part 3 of genetics, CSIR NET Life Science. So let us get acknowledged with some of the terms needed out here in genetics. Well, a gene is a segment of DNA that determines a specific character, and its particular position on a chromosome is known as locus. And each gene may exist in alternate forms, known as alleles, which code for different versions of a particular inherited character. Well, one can alternately define alleles as genes occupying corresponding positions on homologous chromosomes and controlling the same character but producing a different effect or different phenotype. For example, the height of a plant is being affected by this or is being controlled by this allele, but two different alleles are actually producing two different effects. For example, tall or short. Well, now the question is, what are homologous chromosomes? Well, these are two chromosomes which carry the same set of genes or the same set of genes for the same set of characters in the same sequence at the same locus, although they actually might vary in the alleles which they contain. That is, these are two sort of similar sort of chromosomes which actually have the or affect the same set of characters and having the genes for them in the same locus, but actually they might contain different alleles. These are actually found in diploid or multiploids. Well, now let us know what are the wild type and mutant type alleles. Well, first of all, wild type alleles. Well, these are the alleles which are prevalent in the population. These alleles generally produce those type of proteins that are made in the right amount and function normally. And those alleles which exist with less than 1% of the population, or which has been altered by mutation, are known as mutant alleles. Such alleles generally result in a reduction in the amount or function of the wild type protein and are most often inherited in a sort of recessive fashion. Now, what are dominant and recessive alleles? Well, dominant alleles are those alleles which masks or hides the expression of a recessive allele, and these are actually represented in uppercase. And a recessive allele is allele that exerts its effect only in the homozygous state, or when in both the homologous chromosomes the same allele is present. And in heterozygous state, its expression is actually masked by a dominant allele, and it is generally represented. This recessive allele is generally represented by lowercase. Well, an individual may be heterozygous or a homozygous for a particular trait. Homozygous indicate that the homologous chromosomes of that individual actually contains the same allele or two identical alleles for the trait, and the homozygous can be of dominant genotype, that is possessing the dominant allele in both the homologous chromosomes, or the homozygous. It can be homozygous recessive genotype, that is, it possesses two recessive alleles for that trait in the two homologous chromosomes, and it might also be heterozygous genotype heterozygous genotype, that is, it possesses one of each alleles. There is a two homologous chromosomes actually possess different alleles. Well, now let's focus on the two terms, that is genotype and phenotype. Well, genotype is the genetic constitution of an individual for a particular trait, and the phenomenon is the observable properties of an individual for a particular trait. The phenotype of an individual is mostly dependent on its genetic constitution,